Really delighted and honoured to have with us Norman Baker MP today. In recent years, Mr Baker has held a number of portfolios in the Liberal Democrat Shadow Cabinet, including the Shadow Minister for the Cabinet Office, the Shadow Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, and the Shadow Secretary of State for Transport. Following the election of the coalition government in 2010, he took up the post of Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State for Transport. Norman is here today and he's going to outline the government's approach to smarter working and alternatives to travel. Please welcome Norman Baker.
Thanks very much, Graham, and thanks, Matt, for Works Perks.
The weekly fire alarm test has now been completed.
That's a relief.
Normal evacuation procedures should be followed in the event of any further fire alarms.
OK, I'll start, shall I? Thanks for Works Perks. We call them MP's expenses in my line of work. Anyway, good morning. It's great to be here in such auspicious surroundings, and in a strange way it's entirely appropriate to use this age-old establishment to talk about the future and a radically different approach to work and the role travel has to play in that. Because here among the isles of knowledge and wisdom, they're asking a profoundly modern question. How can we best make use of the technology available to ensure our library continues long into the future? And we see how that question is being answered through ambitious projects such as the one to digitise 250,000 out-of-copyright books from the library's collections in partnership with Google. Now, when it comes to alternatives to travel, we're also asking and searching questions about how best to harness new technology. This concept is all about options for working in different ways, from the high-tech video conference to low-tech home working. But the reality is technology is giving us more options than we've ever dreamed of. And while the UK has no equivalent to the technological nirvana of Masdar City in Abu Dhabi, where driverless unipods ferry you around underground, unless you, with a lot of imagination, you mean the Circle Line, this government's using its resources to invest in travel innovation and infrastructure across different modes. For instance, we're supporting ultra-low emission vehicles with our plug-in car grant for both private and business buyers and investing close to £50 million through the Green Bus Fund to provide around 540 new low-carbon buses by next April. We're also providing £560 million through the local Sustainable Transport Fund to support authorities in their efforts to develop transport solutions which create growth and cut carbon at the local level. And we've confirmed electrification of the Great Western Main Line to Cardiff, meaning that Wales will no longer be the only country in Europe, bar Albania, without an electrified route. However, while we can decarbonise and clean up travel, a new dimension has opened up. Advances in communications technology mean you can now circumnavigate the globe virtually from the comfort of your own front room without resorting to these more familiar dimensions of road, rail, boat or plane. But I choose my words carefully. This could be a golden age for travel alternatives, but the potential remains untapped. People might pay lip service to the web conference, but their daily route to the office continues to consist of the crowded carriage or the congested road. It's as if Neil Armstrong remained at the hatch staring into space, unable to take that giant leap into the unknown. It's still Houston, we have a problem. This is a situation that's unsustainable both environmentally and economically. And here's why. This government aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 50% from 1990 down to 2023 to 2027. That's equivalent to almost 2 billion tonnes of carbon dioxide. Yet transport remains the fastest growing source of greenhouse gas emissions, and commuter and business travel is still responsible for nearly 40% of miles driven by car. Meanwhile, we live in an era where businesses must keep running whatever the weather. If you know it's going to rain, you take an umbrella. So having a strategy to adapt to any given situation is essential. And it's no coincidence that as winter approaches, we're in the midst of Commute Smart Week, which is encouraging people to prepare for the inevitable. With the Olympics round the corner and the massive increase in demand that we're expecting on our transport networks, to do this differently, it's essential we plan ahead. Businesses need to remember that there isn't only be one way of doing things. With a bit of foresight, you can anticipate the logistical issues coming down the track and deal with them. That's why TfL is today publishing an updated guide to smarter working for business. By encouraging companies to work more flexibly, we hope they'll be able to keep running without ever having to press the panic button. And the reality is that companies who place a priority on sustainable travel planning will be much better placed to reap the rewards of a dynamic low-carbon economy. So there's real urgency in this. Something's got to give. Douglas Adams said that this world is big enough to look after itself. What we have to be concerned about is whether or not the world we live in will be capable of sustaining us in it. But where do we go from here? Quick fix solutions are not the answer. In the past, that's lumbered us with infrastructure that was only used at peak hours for 4 hours a day, wasting money and wasting carbon. And we've already seen that technology alone will not get us to the sustainable event horizon. In my opinion, our challenge is far more fundamental. Economists have often noted that the time lag between the creation of new technologies and their adoption is significant. It suggests the issue we face is not one of technology, but of psychology. And the simple fact is that until now, many businesses have lacked the confidence to change their approach to travel. In weighing up the calculus of risk, they chose to stick, not to switch. Perhaps that's understandable. The fact is that until now, companies haven't been given enough information to make informed decisions. They didn't have the evidence needed to adopt different travel practices. No one had really explained the benefits from a hard-nosed business perspective. At a time of economic hardship, it simply wasn't worth their while to do anything different. Now, time travels are on our list of travel alternatives. We can't hop in a DeLorean to remake the past, assuming it would have started properly, or say what should have been said. But we can make the case more powerfully from now on. So today I'm publishing the government's response to a call for evidence alternatives to travel that I issued back in April, and that's released, I think, at 9:30. As well as starkly illustrating the problem that we're looking to solve both economically and environmentally, our report provides easy-to-use guides to help companies make the right decisions about their travel and carbon emissions. And it provides hard evidence of how seriously this is being taken in some quarters. For example, WWF UK's latest Moving On research shows that nearly half of FTSE 500 companies have cut their flights by an average of 20% in the last 2 years, with alternatives to travel playing a major role. A cutting-edge company like Microsoft has reduced travel by 27% through the use of technology. Critically, what our publication also shows are the benefits that can accrue to public, private and voluntary sector alike as a result of adopting enlightened travel policies. So let me now give you a few specific and concrete examples. Law firm Eversheds saved 1.3 million in a single year just by reducing travel. Telefonica found that one sales manager in Slough could make emissions savings of almost 9,000 kilograms per annum from home working and save 30 working days per annum in travel. By taking different approaches to travel, a small company like eWork Advantage was able to increase staff productivity by up to 20%, as well as reducing staff turnover and absence. In the public sector, the University of Bradford conducted surveys of 5 universities to assess the benefits of virtual meeting technologies. They found it had a major effect on well-being, reducing stress, ensuring people were more in control of their time, and improved communication with colleagues. One thing that we emphasise in the information we're releasing today is that when it comes to the right travel approach for your company, there's no panacea. How it works is up to you. For example, in addition to working hard to fill its long-distance distribution vehicles, Boots is also encouraging its employees to reduce the impact of their commuter travel through car sharing, flexible working and promotion of public transport. In contrast, Capgemini is reducing carbon emissions from travel by 14.5%, cutting work-related flights and doubling the use of video conferencing facilities. But it's not enough, I don't think, to show you what works. One of the great problems with this agenda is encapsulated in the very phrase I've been using, alternative to travel. Like those other alternative scenes in music or comedy, it suggests something at the margins, something in the fringes. To give people the confidence they need to buy into this, we need to make it part of the mainstream. We need advocates, ready to come forward and commit to doing things differently. Advocates forming partnerships from the public and private sectors, just like that British Library partnership I mentioned earlier on. Partnerships designed to give others confidence and encouragement to try out new ways of working. So today, I'm delighted to announce the launch of the Anywhere Working initiative. Run by Business for Business, It will provide examples and advice to companies on travel alternatives. It will offer technology trials, well-being services and online training. It will provide the tools to enable employees and their organisations to try something different. So if you get the chance, I'd urge you to wander over to the Anywhere Working stand here at the exhibition or register on the Ways to Work website. An Anywhere Working Week will run in February next year. Government too needs to be seen to be leading from the front, and we are playing our part. In February, to coincide with the Anywhere Working Week of Action, the Department for Transport will be holding a second trial week where staff will be encouraged to change their travel behaviour to help prepare for the demands of the Olympics. And across Whitehall, many other departments will be joining us. We're also looking to make the connection between smarter and integrated ticketing and smarter ways of working. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the principle of such tickets, but for the uninitiated, a smart ticket is one that stores your permission to travel electronically, whereas the integrated ticket allows you to use different modes of travel and/or different operator services. The question we're asking the Department for Transport is how can we use smart and integrated ticketing to encourage more efficient use of the transport network, or to encourage passengers to travel at different times? Not only could this help us manage demand in our transport network, it could give much greater flexibility to those who do not need to travel to work on a daily basis. Already the Southern train companies operating franchise agreement includes a commitment to trial options such as a 3-day season ticket or cashback season tickets, or indeed early bird workman's tickets. But we want to go further. Over the next few years, we'll be looking to specify smart ticketing requirements in other franchises due for retendering. So I hope that the action we're taking today and in the coming months to explain why alternative to travel matters, to provide examples of its business benefits and to give support needed to increase the take-up, will finally succeed in bringing this agenda in from the cold. I hope it will galvanise people with the confidence to see reward where once they saw risk. And I hope that in the years to come, you will look in vain for mentions of alternative to travel on the shelves of the British Library or on search engines, because it will simply have become part of the way we do business. Thank you.